The first thing that failed wasn't the engine, it was the sky. 1 second it was open, gray, heavy, but familiar, and the next it folded in on itself like a closing fist.
Attention.
The turbulence hit hard enough to throw my shoulder into the harness. Warning lights flared across the panel. Red and amber blinking over instruments that suddenly stopped making sense. I tightened my grip on the controls. Training kicked in automatically. Breathe, assess, respond. But storms don't negotiate. The radar dissolved into noise. Static clawed through the radio. Voices stretching and breaking until they sounded like ghosts arguing with distance.
Center, flight 7 discrepancies.
The aircraft shuddered, as if something massive had grabbed hold of it from below. Then the left engine coughed. Once. Twice. Gone. The silence that followed was worse than the noise. A dead space where control used to live. "Stay with me," I muttered, not sure if I was talking to the plane or myself. The altitude dropped faster than my hands could correct. The sky outside the windshield twisted, clouds spinning, rain slamming sideways, lightning cutting the world into pieces for fractions of a second. I remember the smell of burning insulation, the bitter taste of fuel flooding the cabin. After that, memory fractured. A violent tilt. The alarms screaming. Then water, black, endless, rushing up where the sky should have been. I don't remember impact, only pressure, darkness, and the instinct to move upward, even when everything inside me said there was no up anymore. I woke with sand in my mouth. My chest burned as I dragged air into my lungs, coughing until my vision swam. Heat pressed down on me from above, solid and unforgiving. For a long moment, I stayed still, afraid that if I moved, the world would remember I wasn't supposed to survive this. Waves rolled nearby. Slow, steady. I turned my head. Broken metal lay scattered along the beach, half buried, twisted into shapes that no longer belonged to the sky. The ocean had already started claiming it back. I was alive. That realization came last. Hours passed, maybe more, before I forced myself to stand. My body protested, but it held. Among the debris, I found what remained of my life packed into a single sealed container. A knife, a lighter, a torn first aid kit, and 3 flares. Everything else was gone. By evening, I had a small fire burning. The flames felt unreal, like proof the world still followed rules. I sat there, staring into it, fingers brushing the silver spiral hanging against my chest, the one my mother had given me before my first flight. "So you always come back," she had said. I almost laughed. That was when the air shifted. Not wind, not sound, movement. I looked up. 3 figures descended from the cliffs above the beach, floating instead of falling. Wings caught the dying sunlight, scattering gold across the sand. They landed without a sound, faces calm, eyes fixed on me. I stood slowly, heart pounding. And for the first time since the crash, I knew one thing for certain. The sky hadn't let me go by accident. They didn't rush me. That was the first strange thing I noticed. If I had stumbled into something hostile, something territorial, there would have been shouting, weapons, movement meant to intimidate. Instead, the 3 winged women stood where they had landed, wings slowly folding behind them, sand untouched around their feet. No fear, no urgency, just attention. I raised my hands, palms open, feeling ridiculous and exposed at the same time. "My name is Lucas," I said, my throat dry. "Lucas Moreno. I'm not armed. I don't know where I am." They watched my mouth as I spoke, as if the shape of the words mattered as much as their meaning. The one in the center stepped forward. She was taller than the others, her wings broader, the feathers darker at the edges. Her gaze dropped, not to my face, but to my chest. To the spiral. Her breath caught. I saw it clearly. She spoke, her voice calm but sharp, the words unfamiliar. The sound of it made my skin prickle. The others reacted instantly, lowering themselves to one knee, wings angled downward. "No," I said quickly. "Wait, you don't have to." The leader lifted a hand, and they froze. She looked back at me, "You fall from the sky," she said slowly, her accent strange but understandable. "And you carry the turn." "The what?" I asked. She pointed. The spiral gleamed faintly in the fading light. "This," she said, "the mark that returns." I shook my head. "It's just a pendant. My mother gave it to me." Her expression didn't change. If anything, it hardened, like someone hearing a familiar excuse. Without another word, she turned toward the jungle that rose beyond the beach, thick, impossibly green, alive in a way that felt deliberate. She took a few steps, then looked back. "Come," she said. Not a request, not a threat, a statement. Every instinct I had screamed not to follow. Alone on an island, surrounded by beings that shouldn't exist, walking into dense jungle at night. This was how people disappeared. But I looked behind me. The ocean stretched endlessly. The wreckage lay silent. No lights, no rescue, no answers. I picked up my pack and followed. The path they led me down wasn't cut. It was remembered. Roots curved aside, just enough to allow passage. The air cooled as we moved inland, heavy with the scent of fruit, damp earth, and something metallic beneath it all. I became aware of the wings behind me, the soft, controlled sound of them adjusting with each step, like breathing that wasn't mine. After a while, I realized something else. The jungle wasn't noisy. No birds, no sudden movements, just that same low pressure, the sensation of standing near something vast and patient. "Where are you taking me?" I asked. The leader didn't slow. "To those who watch the island," she replied, "and to the one who will decide if you stay alive." I swallowed. "And if they decide no?" She glanced back once, eyes unreadable. "Then the sky will not take you back this time." We reached the village just as the light began to thin. At first, I didn't see it. The jungle opened into a clearing that looked empty. Nothing but towering trunks and hanging vines. Then my eyes adjusted, and the space revealed itself layer by layer. Platforms woven from wood and fiber clung to the trees at different heights, connected by rope bridges that swayed gently, even without wind. Homes were built into the living trunks, shaped to fit rather than carved out. Everything breathed, everything belonged. No guards rushed forward, no one shouted. They were waiting. Figures emerged silently from above and below, wings folding, faces calm but alert. Their eyes followed me, not with hunger or fear, but with something heavier. Recognition, maybe. Or confirmation. The leader guided me to the highest platform, wider than the rest, reinforced with thick roots that had been shaped into a natural railing. An older woman stood there, unmoving, as if she had been part of the tree itself long before I arrived. Her wings were smaller, her skin paler. Her posture carried weight without effort. She studied me for a long time before speaking. "He bears the mark," the leader said, stepping aside. The older woman approached until we were face to face. Her eyes were a pale gray, sharp despite her age. When she spoke, it was in slow, careful Spanish, each word chosen with intent. "You fall from the sky," she said, "and you survive." "I didn't plan to," I replied. "I don't even know how I did." She tilted her head slightly, as if listening to something behind my words. "The sky does not choose by skill," she said, "only by timing." I gestured helplessly at the pendant. "This doesn't mean anything. It's just metal." Her hand moved faster than I expected. 2 fingers touched the spiral. Heat flared instantly. Not pain, but pressure, like something waking up beneath my skin. I sucked in a breath, stumbling back a step. The old woman withdrew her hand. "The island knows it," she said quietly. Around us, the air shifted. I felt it again, that low vibration. Stronger now, closer. Somewhere beyond the village, deep within the jungle, something responded. She turned and pointed toward the horizon. Through the gaps in the trees, I saw it. A stretch of land where green ended abruptly. Vegetation thinned, twisted, then vanished entirely. The soil there was dark, too dark. Even from this distance, it looked wrong, as if it absorbed light instead of reflecting it.
It advances even in stillness, just as they predicted.
Dark heart, she said. It spreads. What is it? I asked. She shook her head. A wound. A memory. A consequence. I laughed once, sharp and humorless. You're telling me the island is sick? Yes, she said, and it is dying. Then why bring me here? I demanded. I'm not a healer. I'm not from here, she finished. That is why. A younger figure stepped forward then. She stood closer to my height, her wings narrower, her expression less guarded. My name is Aral, she said. Her Spanish was clearer, steadier. I will help you understand, but not all at once. I looked between them, my chest tight. And if I refuse? Errol met my gaze. Then the dark heart will keep growing. The old woman turned away, her decision already made. Rest, she said. At dawn, the island will test you. Sleep didn't come easily. They gave me a place high above the forest floor, a platform wrapped in soft fibers and leaves that smelled faintly of rain. The village dimmed as night settled in, lights fading one by one until only small fires remained, carefully controlled, never allowed to grow wild. The jungle beyond stayed awake. I could feel it, not watching, exactly, but aware. I lay on my back, staring up through the canopy. The sky here looked different. The stars were sharper, closer somehow, as if distance meant less on this island. I kept one hand closed around the spiral, grounding myself in something familiar, even if its meaning had shifted beyond my control. Are you afraid? Errol's voice came softly from the edge of the platform. I hadn't heard her approach. Yes, I answered honestly. I just don't know of what yet. She sat a short distance away, wings folding with practiced ease. In the firelight, the veins within them glowed faintly, like embers beneath thin ash. The test tomorrow, she said, is not about strength. That's good, I replied, because I don't have much left. She looked at me then, really looked, as if measuring the truth in my words. The island doesn't ask what you have, she said, only what you will carry. I frowned. That sounds worse. A brief smile. This time, it reached her eyes. We sat in silence after that. The sounds of the jungle shifted around us, insects rising and falling in waves, something large moving far away, slow and deliberate. The low vibration pulsed once, strong enough to make the leaves tremble, then settled again. What happens if I fail? I asked. Errol didn't answer right away. At dawn, she said instead, you will walk to the border of the dark heart, not inside, never inside. You will stand where the land first turns. And then the island will decide if you belong to the sickness or the cure. That did it. I laughed quietly, rubbing a hand over my face. You make it sound like the island has opinions. It does, she replied, and it has been waiting longer than you can imagine. Sometime later, I must have slept. I dreamed of falling, not from the sky, but into the earth. Roots wrapped around my arms and legs, not to trap me, but to hold me steady. Below, something dark moved slowly, patiently, like a tide that never forgot its direction. The spiral in my chest burned hot, brighter than the sun, pulling and resisting at the same time. I woke with a sharp intake of breath. The village was already stirring. Gray light filtered through the canopy, wings unfolded, fires were extinguished. The air felt tight, expectant, like the moment before a storm breaks. Errol stood waiting at the ladder, her expression unreadable. It's time, she said. As I climbed down, the low vibration returned, stronger now, unmistakable. Somewhere beyond the trees, the dark heart responded, not with sound, but with presence. I stepped onto the path, the spiral warming against my skin, and understood one thing with sudden clarity. Whatever waited for me at the edge of that blackened land, it already knew I was coming.